Saying that the Paris 2024 Olympic Games inauguration was shocking would be an understatement. By this point, maybe you got lucky and could see the footage before it was deleted, because even the Olympic Games official channels removed their own videos. That is the level of backlash that we are talking about. Now, being lucky would be relative, because maybe it's better if you remain unaware of this. But anyway, I can show you some screenshots because I cannot show you video or footage at the risk of this video being taken down. Maybe you were lucky if you did not see this at all, but if you saw it, because what we have seen, what we have been witnessing for quite some time is the mocking of Christianity. As for this decadent depiction of the Last Supper, I cannot help but think that this looked like the Cirque du Soleil from Temu. And if we are talking about the Last Supper, then this lady, whoever she is, I really don't care, is the one who represents Jesus Christ. Then this must also represent misinformation, because I'm 100% sure that this was not her Last Supper of that night. But anyway, Emmanuel Macron made sure to send the statement that this is France. Which in fact, for me, I am not French. I am not even European. But in the name of Descartes, Voltaire, Camus, Rousseau, and others, President Macron, you know that that is not France. France is much more than that, and France has already become too big for you. But we are talking about Christianity, and somehow Christianity fought back. We got this. Paris outage, but the Basilique du Sacré-Cœur de Montmartre is still lit. Christ is king. This was just amazing to watch. It may be just a coincidence that the main area of Paris had an outage, but precisely the Basilique du Sacré-Cœur was still lit. This is a symbol. I have to remind you, do not mess with Jesus Christ. You better not. But not everything was that bad. I think watching Celine Dion singing again in an Olympics inauguration was just awesome. I'm a big fan of her and her voice. She's got amazing hits, and it was so heartbreaking to watch her documentary of how she was fighting this paralyzing disease. I don't know how she managed it, but we all thank her effort. It was just amazing. Not to mention the LED lights, which, well, were a nice addition. I hope that this had been the only thing at the Olympics inauguration. It would have been just awesome. But instead, we have this. I'm at a loss of words. The organizers of this stuff claim that this was not the Last Supper. No, this was the birth of Dionysius. But what I see is Papa Smurf on an ayahuasca trip. That is what I see. And maybe you did not need to see this. I don't know if it's a man with long hair and big hips, or it's a woman with a beard. I am pretty much confused. Sometimes it's hard to tell, right? And I don't know if the P that he or she had on his or her belt meant anything, because, well, it could be P, it could stand for so many things in male or female anatomy. This is meant like for confusing people. But what was not confusing at all, but was really disgusting, is the fact that in that Last Supper scene, one of the guys, I think, had his testicles in full display on live TV. And of course, I am not going to show you that, but if you have an X account, you have seen this guy's little swimmer makers. And no, I am not proud of mentioning this or having to make a cute metaphor for that. But again, I would like to say that Macron is wrong about saying that this is France. No, Mr. Macron, France is not this celebration of decadence. This was so bad. I need you to put this in perspective. This was so bad that Iran summoned France's ambassador for the blasphemous representation of Christ's Last Supper at the Olympics opening. This is like hell froze over. Even Andrew Tate protested in front of the French embassy in Romania, and yes, you could say that he did it for clicks or spectacle or something, but where were the Christians protesting there? Why are Muslims apparently more concerned about this? Because Pope Francis has been strangely mum about the fact. And this is truly concerning because if you were expecting him to say something, that hasn't happened. And by this point, I don't think it's going to happen. At least Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano made a proper statement blasting the blasphemy of the organizers of the event. Ironically, though, Archbishop Vigano has been excommunicated recently precisely because of his refusal to recognize and submit to the Supreme Pontiff. I think there's more to this story than we can see. And you know what? After they deleted all the footage, even from the official sources, the official channel in YouTube, they issued a statement. The IOC has taken note of and welcomes the clarification given by the Paris 2024 Organizing Committee regarding the opening ceremony. In the daily press briefing, the Organizing Committee said that there was never any intention to show disrespect towards any religious group or belief. They reiterated that their intention with the opening ceremony was always to celebrate community and tolerance. The Organizing Committee also said that if anyone was offended by certain scenes, this was completely unintentional, and they were sorry. Well, they even had the golden calf in the middle of it for everyone to see. I told you, this was all about symbols. There was a lot of symbolism in here. And some of the symbols that I might give them a pass was that pale horse of death from the book of Revelations. That's what many people mentioned, that this was that pale horse, the first of the four horsemen. Okay, that could be an interpretation, but as we moved on, there are things that I actually felt that were pretty cool. I mean, I'm a fan of heavy metal, and watching Gojira, one of my favorite heavy metal bands, playing live, even with the backing track, which is a cardinal sin in heavy metal, it was amazing to watch, even if that was immediately preceded by freshly beheaded Marie Antoinette. Perhaps it was a bit too red for my taste. And the bloodbath at the end was, a lot like a French Revolution. That is on point, but just a disclaimer, that is not actual blood. There was just fabric stripes. And the thing that certainly blew my mind is that they raised the Olympic flag upside down. That's something that I just did not understand if it was on purpose or what. And another unanswered question is, why does the logo of the Olympic Games look like a hair salon logo? I don't know. But to be fair, this is not the first time we see fire at an Olympic Games inauguration. In fact, fire is something really important in these inaugurations. And I cannot help but remember Barcelona 92, when the Olympic fire was lit up by an arrow. That was certainly one of the coolest lighting up of the Olympic fire ever. And Barcelona 92 also gave us a strong message. That you could have a gay man and an obese woman singing, part of the spectacle, singing the absolute best rendition of the main theme of Barcelona Olympic Games, though they were there because of their talent. Pure and simple. What is this instead? I don't know, but I'm sure that not only we are judging this, but someone up there is judging this as well. But I would like to know, what do you think about this in the comments? My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Body Language Guy. Much love and bliss.